Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's morning coffee or tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning, where Grumpy is here as always and Matush is here. What's happening?
Oh, just another day. Went through the weekend of another week of IBS, not irritable bowel syndrome, but international break syndrome, where there's just nothing enjoyable about it.
I'll tell you what, I was happy. We were just talking about it before we went on air. I refed like 3 games back to back to back yesterday. For the most part, like an hour in between. So the whole day was gone, but I'm glad I missed the Turkey's demolition by Spain. It was like 6-0 or something like that in Turkey, mind you. So I was happy to miss that. I kind of knew it was going to be brutal. I don't know if I would have made it till the end with that scoreline, to be honest with you. But so I'm happy I missed that. But I see Poland win.
Matty Cash is Poland's best striker, apparently. I don't know. Did you see his goal against the Netherlands, though, by the way?
No.
Oh, my gosh. An absolute rocket. And they drew with the Netherlands, which was crazy. And they beat Finland as they were supposed to. They won 3-1. And so they're playing okay. The draw, I'll be honest, the draw against Netherlands was quite surprising. And it might be a good sign. It might be false hope. I don't know. It's most likely false hope.
Yeah, the good thing about these international breaks, well, like for the international teams themselves, I guess, not for us, is the fact that, they're going to go back again in like 4 weeks or something like that. So they kind of made it where these 3 batches are like very close together, which I kind of like in that sense. So we're going to be done with this first stage really fast over here, the group stages. So honestly, like, never had ambitions of Turkey winning the group anyway. Just be second number behind Spain and get to the next round of whatever that is. I don't know what the next phase is. I don't know if there's more groups or whatever. Cersei is in the house. What's going on? Yeah, not a lot happening, obviously. A couple of things to talk about. Kind of like watching the boys doing their thing in international games here and there and stuff like that. Good morning, Hassan. One of the news that came out, was that Friday or Saturday, came out that Liverpool is not expected to go in for Guehi in January. They're like, you know what, then we'll get him for free, kind of a deal. Do you buy that? Is that just us basically playing the game, or is it really like we're that confident that, oh, he's coming here, we'll just get him for free next season, and it will be like a free swap? If you're losing Konate for nothing, you're getting Guehi for nothing.
I do understand the free swap at the end of the season. My only thing is I don't understand how you could be in 35 million for a player at the summer and not be interested at all in January, when there's a good chance that throughout the course of the next 3 months, injuries will happen and you're going to be in a position where you most likely have to go in for someone. Based on what we know our defense to be like, based on what we're used to seeing, based on the availability of Konate and Gomez. Now we have the unknown quantity of Leone. We don't know what that's quite like. I know we have shorts up on YouTube. We've talked about it on the shows as well, that you're probably not paying that kind of price for a player that you don't necessarily believe can be a first team player relatively soon. Yes. You're not spending 35 million on an 18-year-old project to stash away for the academy. It seems like a serious kind of player. The question is how soon of a serious player is he? So I think while maybe there's definitely a chance that we're not in for Guehi in January, I don't necessarily believe that all the way through. I think if he becomes available for 10-15 because Palace need to get something for him, then he goes. And at that point, I think Glasner will have had 3 months, and maybe Palace will actually do their homework and get some replacements in instead of waiting until the last freaking second. So yeah, I don't buy it all the way through. And if you're on the Discord and you listen to Gally, you know that Guehi's coming January 1st. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's where we get our news from, unfortunately. But my thing was, I thought it was kind of weird. I can kind of see the club saying like, yeah, I don't know, we'll get him for free, I guess, kind of a thing. But at the same time, it's weird because you would think You're talking about Crystal Palace making plans. That would affect Crystal Palace's plans, right? In terms of like how much they will be spending on that new center back. If they know, I mean, it's definitely not going to be 35 now, right? So it might be 15, 20 or whatever. So I can see them saying, okay, like this is our budgets kind of a thing. But if you're not getting anything for Guehi, they're not even coming in for Guehi. Like I'm not buying it. I mean, Sorzi says I don't believe anything the media says. But I mean, when these things come out, usually it's something maybe the club does want to come out. So I just found it odd because that would affect Crystal Palace's plans in terms of the player they're getting, because it affects your budget. If you only had like, if you're getting like expecting to get, let's say 15 or 20 for him in January, and that's a good question to ask, I guess, like what would be fair if the guy was 35 now in January, how much will he be worth, especially when you can get him for free now in like 3 months, 4 months, whatever.
17 and a half.
17 and a half? Really? You think so? Or do you just do the easy math?
Just cut it in half. Yeah. Half the season, cut it in half. That's what you get. But I think, to your point, I do think, or don't you think, I guess the question is that if not Liverpool, there is a club that would be willing to spend 15, 20 on Amar Guehi to bring him in. I know that he wants to play at Liverpool, but if there is a team that reaches out to Parish and says, hey, we'll give you 20 for Guehi this January window, Palace probably have to take it rather than let him play it out, right?
Yeah, but if you're, especially now, if you're Guehi, you're not going to make it easy on Palace now anyway. So you're going to be like, no. And nobody's going to pay you 20 million for 4 months. If they're paying you 20 million, they're expecting you to sign a contract that's like 2.5 years or whatever it might be, right? So I don't think, unless they have Guehi's blessing in terms of that destination, doesn't matter what the other club offers, because now that's Guehi's time to get back at you and say, no, like I don't want to go there. Or you're like, I'll go there, but it'll be like, I'm going to be a free agent. I'm not going to sign a new contract. So it's not as easy. I know what you mean. I guess the concern is, will somebody convince Guehi and say, hey, I mean, this is a different, interesting situation. Let's say you have Leone, comes in for one reason or another, plays great. There's Gomez there, Konate. More than Konate, I think Guehi can look at the Konate situation and say, I'm not even counting Konate because he's going to be gone. I'm kind of coming in for him, kind of an ordeal. But if he sees Gomez and Leone doing real great, does that change Guehi's mind if another club who's in dire need of center back comes in with a good offer? That's, I guess, my bigger concern.
I guess then what we have to look at and evaluate is where he sees himself long term. Because I think, is he the Van Dijk replacement long term, or is he the Konate replacement long term? And is Leone the Van Dijk replacement long term? Right? I think that's where we have to sit down and see who is fitting in which part of that back line, who's on the left, who's on the right. And if Leone comes in and impresses well, he might be the long-term left-sided replacement, and Guehi could still be the right-sided replacement for Konate, right? Or vice versa. Leone could be the long-term right-sided, and Guehi could be the long-term left-sided. I don't know. But I think it is important to know whether or not that future is there, because Van Dijk probably has 2 years left with this club, maybe 3 if we're lucky. If physically he can keep up with it, kind of like a Thiago Silva situation. So I get your point too, and I think it's just going to be with the best fit for him long term, which could be here, whether or not Leone plays well or not.
I was trying to see, I know he's played both, and when I've seen highlights, he's played both, but he is mostly Leone, right? Okay. So I always saw it as Guehi, the long-term Van Dijk replacement in terms of leadership and running the back line as well. And then, Leone being your long-term Konate replacement. That's the way I always looked at it. But Sergi says Guehi already signed a contract, but I do not think so. There's no contract. He's not a Liverpool player. He's a Palace player. And he cannot sign a contract because we're in the same league. So he can't even so unless he comes over, it's not like he can do a pre-contract from what I know, because they're in the same league. You can go and sign somebody from Bundesliga, right? But you can't sign someone from the same league in January to join you the next season.
I guess figuratively in the sense that, he had taken his pictures with the social media, he was wearing the gear. So in that sense, he had signed the contract with us, right? I think figuratively that he was signing, but not necessarily physically signing. I don't know at what point that happens in the transfer. Is it after Palace signs off, then Guehi can sign, or can Guehi technically sign and then Palace just have to sign off on their terms too? So I think that's more so how I interpreted that comment, is that it was signed in the sense that he was ready to come over, but it just wasn't pushed through paperwork.
Yeah, it's more agreed to, not signed. I guess when you say
Yeah.
signed, it's like signed and sealed is the way I talk. And I think basically signed is what makes it official. Agreement is basically nothing at the end of the day. Because while he can agree to the terms, someone can come in with better terms for Guehi, and Guehi can say, hey, can you guys match what they're giving? And if Liverpool's like, no, then he might be like, well, now I'm going to go there. I guess that's kind of probably my only concern, because I do think like he's a great long-term replacement as well in terms of like the things he can do and he thinks he can bring. I really like, obviously the defending part of it, but I really like how he is in the play, his passing and his range and stuff like that. I think those are golden for a center back, especially these days. So I would hope that nobody comes in the last minute, but this could all be like grandstanding. They're like, yeah, we're not going to come in January kind of a deal. Look at Real Madrid with like the transfer deal coming in for 10 million, just be like, okay, so you guys are happy, everybody's happy, let's call this a deal kind of a thing. But that's what I'm kind of expecting, like 10 or 15. I don't think it goes any more than that in January.
Would you still do that for 10 to 15 for half a season? Yeah.
I think so. I guess, we're saying that now. If everybody is healthy and you're like, holy cow, like we're rolling, and you've seen Leone, I think like we're all not counting Leone or don't want to count Leone because we had not seen him yet. So there's like a huge question mark there. But, if you, by then we'll have League Cup games and stuff like that. So you will have seen him. So I don't know if that's when you're like, hey, you know what? We're good, man. We'll wait. But if you're not, and there are injuries, like you said, like with like Gomez or Konate or something like that, or heck, Leone, we don't know how his body will hold up to the Premier League opposition and all that kind of stuff. So he says he'll go up to 25. As we like to say, it's not our money, but I just don't know if that's good business, good math to give somebody 25 that you were giving 35 and you got basically 3 months less. Because it's not like an Isak situation who did not show for... was Sweden playing yesterday or did they play today?
They played the day before yesterday. So
which he did not play. He didn't even come in. He was on the bench. But I don't know. I think they play again today. So it'll be interesting to see. Yes, today they play Kosovo at 1:45. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays there. But it's not like an Isak situation where even though you didn't make it official in September, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of him until October. Whereas with Guehi, he could just come in and play right away. He was already playing. So you are losing a full 3 months, if you will.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, this might be an unpopular opinion, but
a little bit of both.
That's my popular opinion. Always.
That's the most popular opinion, yeah.
I think if it has to be done and they do it, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if they have to do it and they spend 30, 35 for Guehi in January, I still think that's good business. Because you're
35 in January?
30 to 35. Because here's where I'm at. If you're willing to spend that on the last day of September, last day of August, I guess, right? Last day of August, and to seal your permanent replacement on that back line, the future leader of that back four, the guy you see on that back line for the next 5-6 years, then to me, if you can guarantee that in January, and this is just saying to guarantee it, right? If you know that you can get him in the summer for free, fine. But if this guarantees it, I don't think that it's necessary. It's bad business, I guess, financially because you lose the 3 months. But in the long term, it's great business because you still get the player, you still get that contract, you still get the years, and what you lose is 15, 20 million that you didn't spend elsewhere.
That's fair. I think it's mainly because if you took away this entire August drama out and we went and signed them in January, there was no Guehi talk, let's assume, all summer. We go and sign them in January for 35, we would take that as good business.
Yes.
Right? Because we were like, a year and a half ago, Newcastle couldn't get him for 70.
Exactly.
Kind of a thing. But because I think we know he was almost ours for 35, paying the same amount 3 months later where you get less from him doesn't make that much financial sense. So it's kind of like an odd ordeal, because knowing that, having that knowledge is what makes the deal look bad in January. So like 25, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do 25. I'm okay with 25. I just feel like giving the same amount would be, that's not something you would want to do for future business.
No, it's not. But and yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Because you don't want, like, next year, I don't know, Burnley or somebody else, Brentford, pulling the same thing and be like, well, you guys gave the same thing to Palace.
But will they have the kind of player that you were willing to do that for, though? That's the thing. And Guehi is the captain of his club. He is almost the captain of his country. He is going to be the starting center back for England for the World Cup. I don't think you're going to get a player from Burnley or Brentford that has that kind of impact club and nationally with the leadership that he has to play that kind of hardball.
No,
I guess
that's
where I'm coming from. So that's why I think, while yes, in a bubble, paying the same amount 3 months later for a player who's going to be out of contract is bad business. I think it's still good business for the future, because that 20 million that you didn't save, whatever it might be, invested across the next 4 or 5 years on the back line, pays for itself.
That's fair. Like I say, the value, I think, is there. If we normally sign him for 35, I think we would take it as a good deal. It just, I think, sends a bad message for other clubs to pull the same shit to you on the last couple of days of the transfer market if you pay the same amount in like 3-4 months. And I don't think Palace would expect the same amount in 3-4 months anyway, to be honest with you, because they know what they did. They know exactly what they did, and they know why they did it. So I can see them being, you know, maybe not going down to the 10-15 that I'm willing to, but they're like doing the, well, let's do 25 then. You guys are happy, we're happy, and he's happy. You know, we don't want to do him wrong either, blah, 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 kind of a thing. And, you know, like I say, that's kind of like the club talking about it, or at least the word coming out in the media and stuff. There could be it really depends on how confident we are that Guehi is going to come here and nowhere else. If you're as confident as like the whole Isak situation, where you know he's not going to, like, he's going to turn down other big money coming from Saudi or whatever it might be, then I think, you know what, yeah, that's fine. Like, we'll wait, get him for free. But if you're not, I think that's when you're like, maybe we should do something else, kind of a deal. But I wanted to share this, if I could pull it up on the screen, but then I can't. There we go. Here we go. This came out, I think, like, basically they were talking to him, I think, during the international break, right, in an interview, which I was kind of happy that he got to go there, because initially he was kind of like turned down. We, of course, say, oh, good, you know, he's not going to get injured, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, for the players, it does mean a lot to be called up and stuff like that for their morale. Jimbo is here, by the way. Good afternoon. You better have afternoon tea, because we're doing the morning coffee action here, but you better have afternoon tea. If you can get better value, then great. But one paper is about Barcelona and hunt for Guehi. I just don't know. He's definitely worth a lot more to Liverpool than Barcelona. But this is what I worry about now, is agents are going to be able to go out and be like, oh, now there's so many other people involved and all that kind of stuff. So that, in that sense, it would be good to get this, going back to what you're saying, get it sealed and guaranteed in January. What do you make of the whole Ekitike thing? I mean, he started great. I really love his play. Obviously, you don't have, this is a good problem to have for the next month or so. It's not even a problem, because you're probably getting exactly what you wanted. When we subbed out Ekitike, there's a huge drop. So now You're going to sub out Ekitike. You're going to be able to bring Isak on, which is a great luxury to have. How do you see this unfolding? I'm not going to go AFCON with you, so I'm going mid-October.
Okay. It still feels so weird that Isak is a Liverpool player, right? It still doesn't, I don't believe it still.
Is that a worry?
Is there a worry?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm not the only one. Okay.
No, I mean, I've been worried since March or April when this broke. Like when we were talking about the money that it would take. Like that's big money on a player that, it's a lot of pressure. Again, I know slight injury concern. Sometimes it's overinflated, but there is always that concern there. But
wait. So your worry is performance? Because mine is more injury, I think. Like we're not going to get our money's worth in that sense.
Yeah, that would be my worry. Is injury.
Okay, so it's not performance. You're thinking if he's healthy, it's a no-brainer.
Healthy and on the pitch, getting service from guys like Mo and Wirtz compared to getting service from guys like Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon. Yeah, the performance I think is going to be
I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah. It's the injury, it's the availability that can really make that sum that you pay for him look really unappetizing in the future, right? Kind of look one of those
very Monday words.
I figured we'd talk about food today since the international break, but yeah, the quote itself with Ekitike, I like it. He also went on to say that he wants to make it the coach's problem to choose, which is the kind of attitude that you want. You want to be able to be performing so well, to have your form be so good that you have to force your coach to choose between you and arguably one of the best all-around forwards in the world, right? And it's a luxury to have that problem. Don't get me wrong. So it's something that we're going to have to get used to. And it's not like we have a ton of depth up front. There's going to be a lot of rotation as is. So I think all in all, they're going to be able to play off each other and they're going to be able to play for each other, subbing in and out for each other, as well as maybe having set up where they're both in at the same time, maybe having Ekitike come off the left wing, even though that's something that not all of us necessarily want to see. And we talked about, the whole Darwin thing and we have PTSD from having him between the left and the middle, not knowing what the hell to do there. So I don't want to necessarily fall in the same trap with Ekitike where we don't really know if we should play him off the left or not. But maybe that would be more comfortable with Isak if they're in together. I don't know. But all I know is that I really love Ekitike's overall mental, I guess, where he's at mentally and how he is mentally off the pitch and on the pitch. A super easy example of seeing him against Newcastle, players trying to rattle him not reacting to any of that. And then all of his quotes off the field too. It just seems like he's a very mature player that he just wants to play the sport. He wants to play the sport well. He wants to do what he can do for the team. And that's that, and do what he can.
But you conveniently kind of like ignored you just kind of like danced around the question and just like exited the stage. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Never.
So what happens in mid-October? Let me go back to the question over here. You just literally danced around and around and just like off stage, but never answered the question. How do you see it unfolding? Like, let's say mid to late October.
Fuck, I don't know. Mid to late October.
Stop your dancing. Answer the question.
Well, apparently no one back on Friday wasn't really a great idea to play around with some 4-4-2, even though Slot's done a little bit of that last year. I think what we will see is the manager will be choosing week to week based on form and training who is going to be starting up front. And then we're going to see some of those 60-30, 65-35, or 65-25 minute rotations between the two of them. You answer it.
dancing the other side. It's just like, no, okay, but who's doing the 65-35? Like, who's 65? Who's 60?
Whoever is having the better week training, or whoever is in better form.
Yeah, see,
So
I wonder about that, by the way. I mean, on paper, that sounds great, but I wonder how managers feel about that. I think, like, it is a happy problem. It's a happy problem for us, right? As fans. And not to mention, it makes it very easy to second guess. So, so if Slot puts a lineup and it doesn't work, we can just be like, "Why didn't you use the other guy?" Kind of a thing. It makes it a lot easier. But I wonder how like managers feel about that. Like, do you really want someone that's close, or are you more comfortable with having guys who are pretty darn close in quality, but clearly the second option as well? Like, so Z says, I think Gasper gets rotated, which we know he can kind of live with because he went through with Diaz and stuff. I always wonder that, like, it's easy for us to say that, like, oh, like, whoever is doing better at practice or who is working harder and stuff like that. I mean, while I'm sure the managers like the competition for players to push each other, at the end of the day, though, it does make more decision making and therefore more negative reactions from players. Like, we always talk about like Costas and when Ox was here or Divock and stuff like that. Players who know they're going to be part of the supporting cast, if you will, right? They don't look at the starting 11 and be like, what the hell? How come I'm not in there? I kicked ass all week. In their mind, at least, right? Because every player thinks, they're doing well, they're putting in the 100%, blah, blah, blah. Whereas when you see Ekitike, Isak, I don't know how it went with Gakpo and Diaz. That problem kind of solved itself where we had to shift Diaz to the middle and all that kind of stuff. But like, how do you think it affects it in the long run in terms of like the team dynamics where everybody has a more clear, defined role?
That's one of those where we wait to see how it affects. I think that's part of the reason why you spend the money you do on certain managers, because you expect them to not only be able to be tactically good on the pitch, but be able to be emotionally good off the pitch as well. That's a big part of keeping a good locker room, is having a manager or a coach that is able to balance all of the egos that you have. And, our club, we don't have players that are as egotistical as players at United, for example, where we can see that sort of on the pitch and off the pitch. But part of that comes down to recruitment. Part of that comes down to having the coach that knows how to rein these egos in and knows maybe having the right conversations. And there is a chance that Slot had a conversation with Ekitike before he had come in, because I think news broke that we've been talking to him since January, or interested since January, had a conversation with Slot. And maybe there was a moment where Slot said, look, there is a chance that we also bring in another striker. Maybe it wasn't Isak at the moment in January, February, whenever they were talking, but he had that conversation with Ekitike saying, look, there's a chance we can bring another striker. You have to understand that this is A, B, C, D, and that's what it's going to be on the pitch. And so maybe there is an expectation in there already, so that for Ekitike, he's not coming into this and being blindsided by the fact that we just broke the transfer record to bring in someone that plays the same position that he does. Because that was one of the first things that I had said when we signed Ekitike, and there was news that, oh, we're still after Isak. I was like, there's no way. That makes no sense to spend that much money on a guy and go out and spend more money on a guy in the same position, because what is that going to do to Ekitike? But then you look at the quotes and see what he's saying about playing at top clubs and knowing there's competition, and this is just something to be expected. And so I think it really comes down to how well the locker room is managed and how you're able to bed these guys in together to be able to play with each other, and be happy doing it, even if that means not playing 90 week in, week out. And maybe for Ekitike this year especially, he can't do that anyway, because it's a different league and he's not used to it physically as much. So it could help to have a break every once in a while.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Bob says, Gakpo, Virts, Ekitike, and Isak are going to be rotated for 3 spots twice a week. Yeah, I mean, Battered says the same thing. I mean, I understand that part of it. And I know, like Serzi says, we replace Nunez and Jota. But I think the thing with even Nunez, I mean, Ekitike can know that's coming in. But it's different when it was Jota and Nunez competing for that spot, right? It was almost more about productivity, how you're fitting in, tactically and stuff like that. I feel like the situation is slightly different for Ekitike because you are going against the dude who came in for a lot of money. So you do have to be really, really good to be able to. And I don't think you will knock him off. They will get more like minutes off of him, kind of a deal. Or there can be a scenario in here, going back to your 4-4-2 thing, where we do use him in the future, long run, especially during AFCON. That might be a huge possibility when Mo is away. I think when Mo is there, you're not going to be able to do that. But when Mo is away at AFCON, and that could be like the future of we're going to. Anthra, what's going on, man? Good morning. Well, good afternoon on your end of things over here. So, we did replace him with, top forwards. I mean, the whole Isak thing, like I said, the injury thing is probably my only concern. I'll be very interested to see. And I do think he does go in for like 10-15 minutes today. I was really hoping he would go for 10-15 minutes on when did they play? Friday or Saturday or whatever they played. I was hoping he would get some minutes there too, but nope, he was on the bench. Is the key? That's a good point. What do you think about that? Like Isak's price taking pressure off of Ekitike.
I think that's fair.
Good
I think
morning.
that's a good point. Yeah, because when you are no longer but I guess Wirtz was still in a higher amount signing, just not the same sort of position. I do think Wirtz still has the most pressure out of the three.
Really? I was gonna do a side question for you because I think the same for Wirtz. Isak's arrival, you're not the most expensive guy anymore. I was expensive, but look at that guy, kind of a thing. Like you're not the most expensive guy anymore.
I can understand that. I look, if someone said I think Isak has the most pressure between those three, I wouldn't try to debate it. But I do think that Wirtz personally does still have the most pressure between the three, only because Isak has done it in the Premier League. And so there is a level of understanding where he's coming from already and knowing that he's at the level. Whereas Wirtz, for that kind of money, if he doesn't get to that level, there's always going to be those question marks there that we haven't seen yet. So that's the only reason I think Wirtz, the pressure is still there. But if you were to say Isak, then I wouldn't disagree, because also Isak is, I guess it's a catch-22. You've been successful in the league, so you have to be even more successful now in the league, now that you are going to a club like this.
See, that's right? What I mean. Like for Wirtz, I feel like, it's probably not because of the price tag. It would normally be, right? Like if it was, Ekitike, for example, we kind of like almost expect it to be more of an adjustment periods, coming to a new league and all that stuff, right? With Wirtz, I think like the price tag almost made it sound like he shouldn't have an adjustment plan. He's expensive, kind of a thing. But he's going through the same thing. I think, not being the most expensive guy lets you kind of selling a bit. And I do agree with Tom. It's just a kind of like, he had like a nice free kick goal yesterday, so he can fight with freaking Soboslai over who's going to take those now. But so I think, yes, it will take a couple of good performances and maybe some like European football too. I do think he's going to thrive more on like the Champions League. So yeah, I think so, which brings us back to, what did Konate say? Because I did not catch those.
Oh, he was joking about Mbappe calling him, telling him to join Real Madrid every 2 hours, something like that. It was along those lines.
That is childish. He's kind of like a goofy, immature kind of a dude, though, to be fair. Like, that's his personality. Like, when you watch all these, like, behind the scenes stuff, you kind of see he's like a big goofball that goes around and stuff like that. So he might have said it jokingly, but you got to be like kind of like smarter than that in that sense.
Can we go back to the 6 world-class forwards really quick? Who's the 6th? I
think he's counting Frimpong as the right winger.
Okay. I don't think we can kind of say he's a world-class forward.
I'm counting. Yeah, I don't agree with the 6. I actually would say 4. I'm not counting Rio either. I'm assuming that 6 includes Rio. I wouldn't call Rio.
I don't think it's including Rio. I think it's.
Oh, he's including Wirtz, you think?
Probably. So
okay.
Mo, Wirtz, Isak,
Oh, let's ask you,
Ekitike.
Bob, who you include.
Yeah, why don't we just ask the source?
You get Guehi for a free, but let's forget all the kids stuff. No, Kevin, we hold grudges over here. I will be holding grudges when he bails on you guys to go to United or something like that. Okay, there we go. Bob's. Wait, what? Oh, he's counting. This is how bad it is, and this is why I don't consider him world class in my head right now. I totally forgot about Chiesa during this conversation.
Yeah,
I'll be honest,
because
that's why I assumed it was Frimpong kind of a thing. I think potentially, but I don't know. Do you count? Like, if you told me right now, if I'm counting world class forwards on this team, I'm going with 4.
Okay, maybe I'm just incredibly harsh and critical because to me,
here we go.
World class is another tier above. You have to compare it to. Yeah, no. So when I think world class,
okay,
I'm thinking of guys who could get into any side in the continent. I think genuinely we might have 2 or 3. Mo, Isak, and Wirtz, if you want to count him as a forward. Those are the only names that are world class on another team.
Wait. So what is the? Yeah, see, I knew this was gonna go here. Now, see, the Mr. Battle says the same thing. Okay, what do we consider world class? I'm considering world class as any team would love to have you.
Okay, well, then that's all of Liverpool
in the world.
Then that's all
so
of Liverpool.
The world in there somehow.
Yeah. If you were to offer tell the Chicago Fire, look, you can have anyone on this team, and there's no money involved. Who would you want? Everyone. So that's not a good. I don't think it's a good definition.
I wasn't talking about freaking Chicago Fire over here. Chicago Fire would love to have me, for God's sakes. I'm more talking about. Yeah.
Look,
I'm trying to lose weight, so you never know. Like Gakpo, for example, I think any club would love to have Gakpo. Because you didn't include him in there. Like, there are not a lot of clubs. You can only count so many clubs with ridiculous world class. Like, okay, that would be like a right winger, like being offered to us. And we're like, well, we got Mo. For any team like Gakpo for the left wing, unless you already have, I don't know, like Real has like Vinicius or somebody like that. Unless you have another like already world class player, I think any club would love to have Gakpo. See, Bob says anyone but Real. And he goes to say, which I do agree, he's better than all those.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't consider any of those guys world class either. I think there's
a left wing in the Premier League's top teams.
I can think of 6 clubs in the world that probably wouldn't take Gakpo.
Real,
PSG, Barcelona, because PSG has Kvaratskhelia.
Okay.
Barcelona, they have Rafinha on that left side, right?
Okay.
Give me a sec. Look, you really put me on the spot here, man.
No, you put yourself on the spot. You said 6. Nobody gave you a number. You said 6. So
I know I did. Why am I drawing a blank right now? Hold on.
Here we go. Out of the pocket scrambling already. The play collapsed.
Shit. The Inter Milan.
I mean, Bob says would
Bayern Munich. That's 5.
Who's on Bayern? Diaz?
Well, when healthy, I mean,
they were going with. They were like rotating here. I don't know if Diaz is better because Diaz had to shift to the middle because Gakpo couldn't, I guess, at the time, and we needed somebody in the middle. But I think they would probably, based on the game, you would see a different player starting at left wing. But I mean,
yeah,
on the left side in the Premier League, the best league in the world. Do you have another left winger you would take over? We just discredited all the big boys. Where's Dara? The big 6's left wingers. So who would you take? That's why just admit that he's world class, and we can move on to the next one.
Do you consider Eze left wing? Could he? Because I think
He can do both, probably. Yeah.
then
Rio.
maybe just as
Okay,
in
just
the Premier
point
League.
that
Then
you're
maybe
scrambling to find someone potentially better doesn't it make it world class?
no. I mean, okay, look.
You literally can mainly count 4 to 5 left wingers better than him. Doesn't that make him world class? I'm not talking legendary. So let's open up another layer up there.
I know,
I'm
but
not
this
saying
is
legendary, but I think he's world class in the sense that you can, with one hand, or I'll give you the second hand if you want as well, count how many left wingers are better than him. If he's in a top 10
but I
left
can.
wingers in the world.
Okay, top maybe like breaks 8, 9. Yes.
Okay, then you're world class, aren't you? If you're in the top 10 in your position.
I guess if that's your definition of it, yeah.
What is your definition of it? Top 5, top 3?
He gets into every single team in the world.
Okay, you just counted 5 teams he couldn't get into. Actually, 3.
Yeah, that he couldn't get into.
No,
I don't know.
Not following the logic here. Point being, with Isak, Virsen, Gakpo is not on that level. He's good. I think when you guys say world class, you guys are almost like making it like, 10 years from now, we're going to go back and say Gakpo, what a left winger. I'm taking it more as right now, when I consider him like world class, like 95, 98% of the clubs will love to have him as their starting left winger. Kind of like they would with Mo. Kind of like, they would like Veers, for example, people will find a spot for, right? Isak, clearly. Ekitike, I mean, if anything, you can say Ekitike, how many teams would want Ekitike as their, like, don't you think there's more standard forwards possibly better than Ekitike that people would take over left wingers that they would take over Gakpo, for example?
Yes, but do they want him because of the potential that's there or because of what he's done? It's the potential.
No, that's fair. But I mean, they're not, it's not like Gakpo is that old. What is he, 24?
Gakpo, he's 26 by now.
Is he? By now? By now. By the time this conversation ends. Yes, he is 26, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think based on what you've done versus how young you are and what you can do, Ekitike is more attractive. I'll give you Gakpo, but that's it. 4, like 3, 3 fringe 4. And I don't want to sound like a hater on my own club because I absolutely I want to love everyone on this club. I'm just trying to be a little bit more objective. All right, that was this is a joke that's been haunting me forever. I can't even do a bit anymore because Cersei always reminds me of this, even though that was a bit. It was the bittest of bits, and I will never be able to live it down.
Semenyo could be an upgrade on Gakpo. Yeah, I can say like
there's another one.
just the fact
Gakpo
that
couldn't get into Bournemouth.
That makes you world class, where most people in the world would want you in their class, if you will. So that makes it so. Anyway, either way, it's not 6, Bob. That's I think what we're getting.
That's
to
my
over
point. We had 4 max.
That's why I don't put Chiesa in that, But is that fair on Bob? Because Bob is probably going to say 5 years ago, maybe like when he was in this top level, like playing for Italy and stuff, you might have put him in that conversation at least. Whereas probably not in the conversation now, to be honest.
Could have had the conversation the same way Dele Alli was part of the conversation, but that doesn't mean that things don't change.
Dele Alli is already struggling without you fucking dumping on him on a Monday morning.
Yeah, he's gonna listen to this one day and be really pissed off at me.
To be fair, he doesn't have anything else to do, so he might be listening to this.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say on this topic other than we need to not overrate all of our players all of the time. Rio is a great young kid. We're not going to put him in that upper echelon. Let's be real with ourselves, guys.
Yeah, so he was counting.
He said 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's just way too early, I think. But I think you have enough to do like a solid rotation. Like you would not be okay. Here's like if you saw Rio starting against I don't know Burnley, would you be like, ugh? I think we would be excited just because of his potential and he's a young kid. Let's see what he's got. Like, wonder what he's gonna do now because of his like what he's done so far. But I think if I told you 6 months ago that Rio's gonna start, like in November on left wing, I think you'd be a lot more like, ugh, that's not good. Who's hurt?
I'd be panicking. Like, did everyone leave? Like, what happened? Where did literally everyone go? Unless there's an injury to Gakpo, and Isak isn't ready, there is no reason to start Rio, especially in the Premier League yet. It's too soon. It's too early. Throw him in the cup games. Let him have his run there. But we're not ready for that.
Yeah, that's a good question for the chat, actually. And we do have 19 people in the chat right now. So there should. I'm assuming there's 19 thumbs up people. But yeah, hit that thumbs up if you have not done so already. But the chat, let's ask the chats if, let's say Gakpo is hurt, how comfortable are you starting Rio on left wing, or are you looking for a different answer to the question, like Ekitike on the left or Wirtz on the left and stuff like that? Let's say a month from now, so that Isak is ready to go. So Isak is already in the equation.
That's fine.
I think so.
Yeah, that's fine, but not
today.
Now.
We're talking today. 2 out of 10. What is the 2 out of 10? Hold on, you lost me, Ozan.
I think that was out of 10 with Rio on the left. How comfortable would you be?
How comfortable are you? Okay.
I think
Ekitike or Chiesa to the left, Ekitike or Wirtz on the left. So out of these first 3 answers,
you're all wrong.
Bob is selling.
You're all wrong. Curtis Jones.
The Curtis Jones reel that's going around in the internets, the amount of hates and love that guy gets is unreal. Like, it's so, I find it really odd now too. So it's kind of like flip-flopped, where like other fans are protecting him and more like sounds like more like local fans are like dissing him. It's just like really weird. Well, that's based on numbers though, really, not quality. That was more for like, their version of homegrown numbers and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's a good question, actually. If that wasn't a concern, I think Chiesa is probably picked over Rio, I would think.
If Guehi had crossed the line and was a Liverpool player, Leone would not have made the Champions League roster, and it would have been Chiesa instead.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's what it would have been. And unfortunately,
that was the plan.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Chiesa, it's a numbers thing where UEFA is very strict on the homegrown. So that's what it is.
Rio will be a sub, says Jimbo, and for a few appearances to get a taste of first team ball. Rio will get microwave minutes, in my opinion. What are microwave minutes? Like 3 minutes to popcorn? What are we talking here?
Yeah, I guess whatever you add on.
Oh, okay. So you can have pasta that's frozen in the middle, but 105 degrees on the sides. Rio's no homegrown yet. He had to pick one. No, he counts as, I don't know, because of like, I think they go by nation. Is that what they go by for the UFA? Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So it's not necessarily the homegrown thing, but there's something to be about like, like from your country or something like that. So that's basically why Chiesa did not end up going, because we had to put Leone in there. So one Italian, maybe we can only take one Italian. That could be the numbers. I'm pretty sure that's what their limit is, because I know like even the Turkish teams, they have to like, put in an extra third goalie that you never heard of and stuff like that to kind of like balance out the numbers overall, because there's so many like international players and stuff like that. So yeah, I might have misspoken when I said homegrown, but that's their version in terms of like going, I think they go by,
I think, locally trained.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
like, I don't know what the criteria is.
Yeah, but I think the term is locally trained, if I'm remembering correctly.
since it's Monday and he said microwave, so my mind already went to food. How often is the microwave used in the Polish residence? Or how often does your butler use the microwave?
Not too often, because we like throwing things into the air fryer oven thingy to reheat stuff rather than put it in the microwave typically. So
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say it's probably
not
about the
too
same.
often. Every once in a while. I mean, once, twice a week. Oh, that's probably my guess.
Probably. I was gonna go the same way. I mean, it's very. I'm lazy, so I might throw. Angie is like better at like just throwing the stuff in the like the oven to reheat or whatever. Like let's say pizza. Tony says, "What is a microwave?" Come on, man. I know you had that stuff in the restaurants in the back over there. Keep throwing stuff in the microwave and sending it out. We made these mashed potatoes this morning, kind of a thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's a good question because I know some households they get a lot of use and abuse. Like I say, I'm lazy, so I might even reheat pizza or something like that. Whereas Angie would put it in the oven. But like I say, I just want to go grab it and like get back to work or whatever I'm doing and stuff.
If it's pizza, it's just cold for me. It's the best.
Depends on the type of pizza. And I don't want to hear Cersei before even you write it freaking down. Stop typing that shit. Not with the Euro meats or whatever, but really depends on what it is. Can you eat any pizza cold?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Cold refrigerator, cold room temperature.
Refrigerator, doesn't matter.
Really?
I don't know. I don't mind. Yeah,
nice,
that's fine with me.
Cold.
I don't mind just colder food in general. Like I don't need it to be piping hot. Even wherever I'm at eating, if it's at a restaurant, if I'm reheating something. Okay. Oh, here, never mind. I use the microwave every day at work because I make my lunches for the week and then I heat it up at work. So I lied. I do use the microwave every day.
You lied twice because you also said you like the stuff cold. And
yeah,
now you're reneging on that as well. Man.
I reheat it, but then I just let it sit for several minutes so I can just scarf it down really fast.
Why even reheat it? You couldn't avoid two lies at the same time and not use the microwave.
It's a mental thing. It's like coffee, right? The caffeine does shit, but it's the act of doing it. We're like, oh, now I'm more perky, even though nothing changes for me anymore because of my tolerance.
Coffee is a good example because it is very psychological in terms of like, I can drink the coffee and take a nap. Like yesterday, I drank like a espresso kind of thing, like late in the evening. And then 5 minutes later, I was like falling asleep watching NFL. So I'm like, so the coffee doesn't do anything. That's a good example, I guess. Yeah. Room temperature, says Cersei. I can do room temperature. I mean, I can do cold. Like, it's not like it really depends on the pizza. That's why I asked like any kind of pizza, and you said yes. Because some ingredients you can get away with doing like the cold version. Some of them you kind of want like at least room temperature or warm. I can't do ridiculously hot either, like normal stuff. But
I think Cersei is referring to a Polish soup, but the L comes before the O. It's called chłodnik.
How disappointing!
What
is this? Is it like a ceviche kind of a thing?
It's like cold borscht, essentially. It's beet soup, but cold rather than hot.
Beet soup?
Beet. Like beet, like red beets.
Well, I understood it's not like a beet.
Beet.
Yeah, I kind of figured that part. Thanks for explaining that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'm on board with that. So, is it like pickled beets?
No. Have you ever had like Spanish gazpacho where it's cold? So it's like that, but with beets instead of tomatoes. It's a beet based.
I don't know. When you say cold beets, I guess that's why my mind automatically goes to pickled cold. You know what I mean? That's why.
Yeah.
I expect that kind of. What the hell is keshkek, dude? Hold on. Now we're gonna have to.
Keshkek, obviously. Oh, I don't know.
Keshkek is. Something I have never had.
Cold
Is
or
the
hot?
answer, Ozan. Ceremonial meat or chicken and wheat or barley stew is the description, and this is why I've never had it. That does not even sound good. So yes, the question is naan. It's pretty good. It has kefir, beets, and cucumber. This is your Polish thing?
Yeah.
So there's cucumbers in there as well?
It can, yeah.
Hmm.
Usually, yeah. It's
Yeah, I know what this. But I know what he's talking about. This fax machine thing, though. Like, have you ever seen videos of like kids who like they're given like a cassette tape and they don't know what the hell to do with it, to eat it or use it or whatever? Yes, technology is a bitch. Dude, okay, this this Keshkek thing, I have never. I'm gonna have to ask my brother. I guarantee you. Maybe he'll answer like right away. No, he hasn't even seen my last message yet. But yeah, I wonder like if he knows what it is. I have not ever had Keshkek. Dude, I'm looking at the pictures. I don't think you want to have Keshkek.
Can't believe you even call yourself the Turkish one. You haven't even had Keshkek.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. You know what the good thing is? But this is the Turkish thing, by the way. If you Google Keshkek right now, which is like Keskek. The thing that's on top over here, not in the first picture, I guess, but like on most pictures, it has this like little like red pepper, like butter sauce on it. Like it's Angie's favorite. You can put that shit literally on anything. It's like America's version of hot sauce. You can pretty much put that thing on anything, and it will automatically like elevates whatever the hell you're eating. For example,
it is a hearty porridge.
Yeah. I think those like the description and the things used to describe it basically explains you why I've never ever had it.
I'd eat it though.
I mean, I would try it. You said I'd eat it like
I'd eat it. I'd eat the whole thing.
You said I did it like I'd hit it or something. I was just like, you're like, I'll take a crack at that. Yeah.
Well, it's nothing like my jelly meat that I had shared before.
Dude, yeah, I would. What was the name of that thing? Because everybody should go look at this thing. And if you're on a diet, I think it will automatically be like something you can look at and be like, you know what? Maybe I'm not that hungry after all.
If anyone wants to look at it's Galaretka. Galaretka. And you can do it with chicken or pork.
If you just ate, don't look. So let me do like a public service announcement. If you just ate it, do not look because it is not very appetizing.
It doesn't look appetizing, but it tastes great, and that's what's important. We're not in this.
It looks wrong, dude.
It looks like
we're trying different things. It just looks wrong,
dude. It genuinely looks like someone fucked up royally one day and was like, and just tried to play it off as this is what it's supposed to be. Trust me. And then it actually tasted okay and people believed it.
It almost looks like, yeah, here's what happened. Somebody left it in a bowl, put it in the refrigerator, right? And it was so fatty, it came like this. And like you, they were too lazy to use the freaking microwave. They ate it as it is. They were like, you know what? This is not actually that bad.
And they're like, you know what? This could use a little bit of vinegar. And they put the vinegar on, and it makes it even better. That's amazing.
Yes, it's disgusting. But yes, I mean, I see there's like different. So Galaretka ultimately means Jello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But nothing like having pork and stuff in that Jello. Okay, yes. So we lost all the audience with this. Once people looked at everybody went to the bathroom to barf probably. So Monday, what is the game plan for you over there?
Well, this is my last Monday for a while, my friends. Because I am leaving. I'm fleeing the country. I'll be back though. So
take us with you.
So today is a grooming day. I'm getting my haircut, and I have a physical at the doctor to make sure that I'm not going to die on this plane. And then I have.
Like, did you already have the schedule, or is this like a requirement of some sort for a visa?
No, I already had a schedule.
Oh, okay.
It was just my yearly
get checked out first.
my yearly physical, and then there's and then basketball open gym later to make sure the kids don't fight each other while they play against each other.
Good times. I actually, speaking of kids, I have to do the refereeing thing later today, and then obviously tonight we have the podcast at 7:00 Central, 8:00 Eastern. Bickler Galley and hopefully me, just in time, coming from the game over there from refereeing middle school kids. I notice the boys, not only the game itself, but personality-wise and stuff like that, they've already gotten a little bit of the testiness gets a bit worse. I noticed with the boys, there's a little bit more of a, hey, you guys have to cool it over here going around. Whereas with the girls, there was only like one or two that you have to watch out for personality-wise, like complaining and stuff like that. But this is why I'll never do high school, because I am not dealing with that on the pitch over there. So yep, I'll be doing refereeing, no VAR or nothing. It's a solo show over there, but I kind of like enjoy this. Good times overall. But that's it for us this morning. Do not eat. Skalaretska is the one thing to take away from this morning show. And we'll be back. I'll be back tonight. And then, yeah, you're gone for 2 Mondays, right? People are going to miss you. And
no, they're not. You're going to...
recipes.
Everyone's going to actually, you're going to have record viewing the next 2 Mondays because there won't be some imbecile sitting next to you.
Well, but we have to get a soundbite of you saying a bit of both, a little bit of both, so I can occasionally play it on your behalf over here. But have a great day, everybody. Great Monday. I know it is Monday, but have a great week, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.